When my brother James and I were growing up, our family lived in an old Victorian-style home located in Massachusetts. It was very secluded, with our nearest neighbor being maybe a mile away. We would spend most of our days outside in the treehouse our father built, as we made up stories of pirates and treasures. I was always Blackbeard, while James would be Calico, and we were the unstoppable duo of the high seas. There was a special hole in the middle of the tree where we would hide our stolen treasures. As exciting as our treehouse was, though, I would have to say the best part about our home was our nanny. She was so thoughtful and fun, the best nanny any child could ask for, really. At night, we would hear a soft humming sound that echoed throughout our whole room. It would lull us to sleep, enveloping our minds with such a calmness that we barely had any dreams, only that soft, sweet hum from Nanny. Some nights, though, James and I would startle awake, both having had the same nightmare. Frequently, it involved not being able to breathe, as if someone had placed a bag over our heads or shut off our air supply somehow. We would always wake up right before we died, hands on our throats as we coughed away the night terror. The mornings after these episodes, we would wake up to find that Nanny had left us a note. We couldn't quite make out the scribbles, but we knew she wanted us to be happy and forget about the terrible shadows that haunted our minds. We would often tell our parents about Nanny and how she was so kind, leaving us notes in the night. They would usually comment on how feverish our imaginations were, also adding in how we needed to stop getting into the craft bin without asking. We eventually grew up and moved out of our family home, leaving poor Nanny behind. We could feel her sadness as we packed our bags on what would be our last night home. We moved into an apartment together in the east side of town, but we never forgot about our precious friend. Years later, I was going to write my college thesis on my childhood and how I was basically raised by a nanny. While looking up our family home, I stumbled across an article online written about the original family that lived there in 1915. A mother and father, 2 little ones, and their nanny, our nanny. I began scanning the article more thoroughly. I was so excited to find out everything I could about the woman who had helped raise both my brother and myself. I nostalgically thought, maybe she missed the kiddos from the previous family, and that's why she took such good care of us. I could not have been more wrong. I scanned the article, mortified at what I was reading. A lump began to form in the back of my throat as my heart sank deep into my chest. The article reported how the nanny had lost both of her children due to the negligence of a drunk driver in 1913. Never having been able to properly cope with their deaths, she actively searched for the monster that had stolen her babies' lives. That is when she became employed by the Dobsons. On her journey for revenge, she had taken her time, caring for the monster's children as if they were her own. Until that dreadful night when she murdered the 2 sleeping babes. She had smothered them with a pillow, most likely singing to them ever so sweetly, as she always did. After they had died, the article stated that the nanny had written what appeared to be a suicide letter and left it next to their bodies. She then killed herself. The article included a photo of the backyard in which my brother and I used to play. In the middle was the tree our fort had been built upon. As I looked closer, I noticed our treasure haul, only it looked different. It was covered in a deep crimson red that made my own blood run cold. Next to the tree was the lifeless body of our nanny, gun still in hand. Cheers to everyone who gave this a listen, and thank you so much to zapsplat.com and freesound.com for providing both the sound effects and the ambient background music. This has been Sleepy Siren with r/NoSleep. Good night, everyone. Sleep tight and don't let the sirens bite.